All right, it's an off day, but Kevin Acee in his Padres daily newsletter this morning, he put out some quotes from Xander Bogaerts. He had some conversations with Xander about his struggles this year, and there were some troubling things that were in this piece here. And I'll link the article, by the way, in the description. Go check it out. Kevin, I love the Padres daily that he does tidbits and the quotes and some of the different things that you don't see in like a normal game recap story he puts in there. And today with Xander, he just doesn't have confidence. That's like the main takeaway here. And we know the start to this season, it's not even as bad, or excuse me, it's more bad than last year when he was dealing with the wrist injury. So that's a cause for concern. He's not hitting the ball hard. Let's just hit on his normal numbers here first, like the average on base percentage, all that. 213 average, 269 on base, 290 slug, 559 OPS. Those numbers are nowhere close to his average last year, his on base percentage last year, his slugging last year, his OPS last year. And last year, all of those numbers were down compared to the year that he had in 2022. So it's decline, decline. That's all we're seeing right now. And the confidence isn't there. And I'll get to those quotes here in a moment. But you look at the Baseball Savant page and average exit velocity, 6th percentile, cold blue, barrel percentage, 20th percentile, hard hit rate, 4th percentile, batting run value, 24th percentile. Like, it's just not there. There's not really very many encouraging signs at all that Xander is turning this around. I love that he cares, and he was taken. That was, I think it was the last homestand where he had that toe tap and he adjusted to it in the middle of the at bat. He was taking 200 swings in the cage before the game. Like, he's trying to get out of this. But what I'm seeing here is he's working, he's working, he's working, and then he reverts back to the bad habits and goes back to what he's been doing, which has caused him to struggle. So, him watching the video and all that, he realizes what is going wrong. What is he doing during these at bats and games? And he's trying to fix it, but like, is it mentally, or mentally he's trying to do it, but physically he just can't do it when he's in the box against 97 miles per hour, and you can't think too much, right? I would imagine when you're in the box, and he just goes back to the bad habits. But here's Kevin writing: Bogarts neither looks nor sounds like he is close to breaking out of a month-long slump. Bogart says here, people are like, you're too hard on yourself. You're too down on yourself. It's like, bro, I've seen the same S. I, I think that's what he's saying here. Kevin writes it as, I've seen the same expletive the whole time. At this point, you're just flipping a coin, like hoping something different happens while doing the same thing over and over again. So, like, he's going up there and he's doing the same thing, hoping that different results are going to happen here, is what I'm getting there. And isn't that like the thing of the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing and thinking that something different is going to happen? So I'm not sitting here again accusing like Bogarts of, mentally not trying to do something different, but just for some reason, mentally or physically, he can't go do it when he's in the box. It's just one of those things. I don't know if it's a switch or if it's a repetition thing where he has to get those in-game. There's nothing like in-game. You can do it in the cages, front toss, or off a machine where there's no actual arm there. But to do it in a game where it matters, where everyone's watching, I imagine it's a different feeling. Um, and Kevin writes about how, oh, maybe when you try to bring some encouraging things to Xander, he's not really accepting that. Kevin says any suggestions to him that he was perhaps showing signs of emerging from his funk were met with resistance. He went out to close the Cubs series with a pair of 0 for 4 games, and this is the line that got me here. His confidence seems as impaired as his swing path. Again, the confidence just is not there. And Major League Baseball players, right, you have to have confidence. I think some fans look at some guys and are like, "Man, he's cocky." Sometimes these guys need to have the confidence because this game will humble you, you know? You obviously, you've probably heard the phrase of, "You go 3 for 10, you're in the Hall of Fame." That's like the only sport where you suck, you can go in the Hall of Fame. And I'm talking about sucking, like, 3 for 10 in any walk of life, like, that's not good except pretty much baseball, right? So he's at a loss. That's what Kevin wrote here. Bogarts, he seems like he's trying things, but it's just not happening. That's the biggest annoying part, Bogart says, that you can see it, you can try to fix it, but then you go into the game and you're always doing the same thing. I've had worse, he says, about current slumps. Um, Only since 2017 has he endured a 38 game run anywhere near this unproductive. That was last year when he was dealing with his wrist injury, still managed, Kevin writes, to put up better numbers than this from late April to early June. This one is more frustrating, Bogey says, to just see what you're doing wrong every time. It's very hard to watch the video when you're looking at it in the hotel room or at home. It's very hard to see it. I think what he means there is it's hard for him to watch because he knows what he's doing wrong in the games. And he just can't stop doing what is wrong. I just can't imagine being in that spot mentally. And Schilt has given him off days, and Bogart talks about how that's helped, but then he comes back and does the same thing. So, I mean, Bogarts, like, what do we do with Xander? But what should the Padres do with Xander Bogarts? I don't know the answer. I was just listening to Darren Smith show, his opening segment with Marty, and Marty was like, maybe put him back at shortstop. Because what do you have to lose, you know? Because Kim, what if he isn't here after next year? Who's at short? Is it Bogarts again? But there was this whole big thing made about Xander going to second base, and now for him just to go to shortstop, what was the point of that? You know, it's May 9th here. Are you going to DH Xander? I don't think so because he's not even DHing every day, and look how hard he is on himself and how mentally he just doesn't have the confidence, right now. And I understand it, but it just sucks to read this that he's just in a bad spot mentally with his performance offensively. Putting him at DH, I don't think that would help. That would probably hurt, right? I mean, can it get worse? Maybe. So maybe you try it, but like I see it more as if you DH him, he's only going to be thinking about hitting, and then when he doesn't do well hitting, it's just going to keep spiraling. Where at least he can feel like he's helping the team defensively if you go put him at second base. And he is better defensively than someone like Luis Ariz at second base. So I think that they just keep putting him out there at second base. Maybe we see some more off days in there of him not being in the lineup, but I think you got to keep putting him down there, sixth, seventh in the lineup, because he doesn't deserve to be in the top 5 right now. He'd tell you that with his performance, and I don't think the DH spot would do any. I don't think that would do good for Xander. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but I'd like to hear his thoughts on if he would be if he thinks him being in the DH spot would actually be a good thing for him. I just don't see it. He's not going to get traded. He's not going anywhere. You're not just releasing him when you have like a decade left on the contract. So, yeah, they're in a bad spot with Xander. But you just hope that like you mentioned, one swing can turn it around. Yeah, you hope. But even when he did hit that homer, I remember at home, was it that Sunday? I think it was a Sunday game, and he homered and was like, all right, there we go. Maybe Xander can be back. Maybe that was the one swing. And we're still sitting here on May 9th. I think that was weeks ago when that happened. And we're sitting here talking about Xander Bogaerts and his struggles. And he just keeps getting moved down in the order. He was leading off, obviously, then moves down. And now he's down to 6. We'll see if he gets moved. It just sucks. Because I know there's fans that crap on Xander, but like I want Xander to do well. We all want Xander to do well because that helps the Padres win baseball games, and it's not like we can trade him. He's not going anywhere, so we just gotta encourage him as much as we can, I guess, and hope that there is that one swing. You hope that something can turn it around. I have no doubt that Victor Rodriguez and Xander, they're working on different things, but mentally, it's just he's lacking that confidence, which is, again, it's understandable, like I said. I don't know what it's gonna take for him to get out of this, though.